guess I should probably start this tutorial instead of making weird faces in my camera for like 10 minutes. Okay, so for today I'm going to be doing my $10 and under drugstore tutorial, I guess. I'm going to be doing like a pretty smoky green eye. Go ahead and put in my contacts first. Believe it or not, it's really hard to do makeup when you are blind as a bat. So now that my contacts are in, I'm going to go ahead and do my eyes first. I've used the palette that I'm going to be using. I've used a couple other times and it seems to have like pretty intense fallout. So I am going to be using tape. This is just because one of the products that I am missing is face powder, and I would totally like do my whole face and then just like bake underneath my eyes or something so that I can wipe the fallout all away, but I don't have powder right now that's under $10, so you gotta work with what you got, right? And if you don't necessarily want to do this, you can always, because I know tape is not necessarily everyone's forte, and especially if you want like the look to have a rounder, more blended out look instead of like a sharp wing, you can definitely just get like a makeup remover or like a wipe or something and wipe all the fallout after you do your eye. So first product that is under $10 is going to be the Essence I Heart Color Intensifying Eyeshadow Base. This puppy is literally like $2.50 or $3 or something like that at Ulta. Favorite eyeshadow primer that I've ever tried before, and granted, I've not tried very many eyeshadow primers. I've tried a lot of face primers. But my favorite eyeshadow one so far has to be Too Faced Shadow Insurance. That one's probably my favorite out of everything. I'm going to be using three different kinds of brushes. The first kind are going to be these Wet n Wild brushes. These you can pick up, like I think I got a couple of them at Walgreens. I know they sell them at Walmart, and I got some at Meijer. Other kind of brushes that I'm using are two Morphe brushes. These are ones that I use literally like on a daily. I think each one of these is definitely under $10. I think one of them was like $6 and maybe another one was $8. I'm not really, like, I don't remember. I bought these forever ago, but these are really good. And then the other kind of brushes that I'll be using, they're from a company called the Vintage Cosmetic Company, and they look like this, but I got them at TJ Maxx. They came in like a really cute, like, pinup girl type of packaging. It was adorable, and I had to buy them because it was, I think I paid $4 or $5 for a set of 3 eye brushes, and these are some of my favorites that I've been using recently. For my eyeshadows, I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild Color Icon. This one is in Comfort Zone. This one has all the greens and the oranges. Brow bone color, and I'm going to use my Morphe M441 brush and kind of create like, just kind of create that crease without bringing too much up, because this is kind of like this is very shimmery and we don't want it to go like all the way up to our brow bone. We just want to create that kind of like transition color. Especially since I'm trying to not add warm tones into this look. It's pretty hard because I usually use like Peach Smoothie from Makeup Geek or Creme Brulee, which are warmer toned colors. I'm just taking a clean brush and kind of like dispersing the product a little bit more. I'm kind of digging it now that I have it on my face, but I've always used matte colors as transition shades because it's just like, I feel like it helps it blend a lot easier, but we're working with just one palette today, so some people only have 1 or 2 palettes to deal with, and I want to be able for you guys who either can't afford these $40, $50 makeup palettes out here at Sephora, like, do not ever feel bad because you can't afford a palette. Like, you can work your butt off as much as you want to earn a palette like that, but pure talent is going to be from like learning how to use these palettes to your advantage and taking products that are $10 and under and like decking out your fucking face. Like, you're going to look absolutely beautiful no matter what you put on your face. But I like to see talent coming out of girls who know how to use what they have. Like, if you have a $6 palette like this, you can rock this. Like, you can do so much with just these 8 colors, and it's a $5, $6 palette. Like, you don't have to go out and buy these extremely expensive things. Like, do you. Like, do what you're comfortable with, and don't feel like you're ever pressured by social media or other influencers that you have to go out and buy really expensive items, because you really don't. Next, I'm going to be going in with that really dark green crease color. I'm going to be using one of these Wet n Wild just little eyeshadow brushes and just barely like putting anything on the tip of my brush, and then I tap it a little bit. You're going to want to start building on your outer corner. And do not start very intensely, because you want to slowly like build that up. You can always put more, you cannot take away. Everyone's learned that lesson the hard way, I guarantee it, but that's why we're artists. We gotta learn from mistakes, people. No one would ever learn. See, like, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but in person, when I swatched this on the back of I've never actually used this dark green color, like, on my eyes, but when I swatched it on my hand, it was really hard to see the color, but now that it's on my eyes, I can actually see, like, the dark green. Really big sucker for, like, haloed looks right now. So I think that's what I'm going to be doing. For this look today. And just keep slowly, like, you can spin your brush in circles. You can take your brush that you used for your transition color and kind of just go back in, blend it out a little bit more so you don't have any harsh lines. And it's nice sometimes to see the products blend together, because it'll like make your look a little bit more put together. And then you can always darken it down closer to your lash line. So I'm just going to take that same color and slowly and very carefully add it to my innermost corner. And I'm going to try really hard not to get it very far in. Like, I have a little strip of my crease color in there, and I kind of want to keep that highlight there. So as not to give me like raccoon eyes. Now that I have that down, for my For my lid color, I have this is going to be a really, really weird tactic, and I don't know if it's going to work because I've never tried this before, but I thought, you know, screw it, why not? And when I tried it on my hand, it looked really pretty, so hopefully it works the same on my eye. The Jordana Cat Eyeliner, and this one is in green. It's Envy. Envy is the color that this is called. It actually has a name. Really pretty metallic olive color. I'm going to actually use this as an eyeshadow base, but when I worked with this on my hand, I had to work kind of quickly with it because it dries pretty quick. But I'm going to put it all over that center portion that I left open, and then we're going to put an eyeshadow on top of it. So start pretty light. I'm just going to kind of like work my way up the eyelid until I get to my crease, and then I'm going to pat it out and kind of just pounce my finger on top of it. Because like I said, we're using this as an eyeshadow base, not the final product, and it does get pretty tacky. So we'll start with that. And while it's tacky, I'm going to take one of those, I'm going to take this Wet n Wild. It's more of like a flat eyeshadow brush. And I'm going to be taking this olivey green color in the Wet n Wild palette and putting that right on top of the eyeliner we just put on there. I like that. And we'll go back in with the darker green and kind of like buff things out too. I'm just going to do the same thing on my other eye. I've never really seen anyone use an eyeliner as an eyeshadow base before. I don't know if it's just because I haven't learned my lesson with it yet or what, but it seems to be working out kind of okay. Take that same green eyeshadow and pounce it all over it. Take that that darker eyeshadow and just go back through, kind of bring it up a little bit more onto that olivey green. And then once you get your desired intensity, I'm going to go in with the Jordana FabuLiner. It's their liquid felt tip eyeliner, and just putting on normal winged liner. Since my look is already so like intense, I'm not going to do a huge wing because I am going to be putting lashes on. Of these Jordana eyeliners that I've been using, I'm pretty sure I paid less than $5 for both of them. Like, I think they each might be $2 or $3, but I got them at a Walgreens. but I really like the felt tip one. I'm going to go ahead and curl my lashes and put a single coat of mascara on them. My mascara, my favorite, one of my top like 3 drugstore mascaras is the Falsies Volume Express by Maybelline. For some reason, I'm pretty sure they changed their brush style, but the formula is the same, and I absolutely love it. It gets my lashes very like volumized, but at the same time spreads them apart so I don't feel like they get really clumpy. So while my mascara is drying, I'm going to go ahead and put on some chapstick. This is the Maybelline Baby Lips in Peach. I think it's Peach Kiss. This is my favorite drugstore chapstick. So since my camera stopped recording, I just went ahead and finished up my eyebrows. Okay, so second dilemma. I do not have concealer from a drugstore right now. I only have my Naked Skin concealer that I've been using. The concealer that I own from the drugstore right now is the Hard Candy Glamoflauge. I used to use this as an everyday concealer, and like, please just don't. I feel like it clogs pores really, really bad. It's supposed to be good for hiding tattoos, and I think that that's a great idea, especially if you're doing like film or photography or anything like that. It's great, but everyday makeup, I was using this as like how I normally use my concealer, and it was caking up my face so bad. I was getting acne like more so than I usually do. So I will be using this to carve out my brows. I'll be using it to hide like smaller imperfections on my face, but then the rest of my face I'm just going to be using my foundation, because this is way too thick to be putting underneath your eyes as like an under eye concealer. And you want to make sure that this thing gets shaken up, because it just like leaked all over me. So now that my brows are done, I'm going to go ahead and carefully take off my tape. I'm going to take a clean fluffy brush and just wipe underneath my eyes to get any excess fallout. On for the face. For my primer, I'm going to be using the Maybelline Master Prime primer. I believe this is just at $10, or it might be a little bit more than that. It gives me a little bit of a glow, like on the cheeks. It helps my highlight pop a little bit more. And then the matte foundation just kind of like mattifies everything so that it all just sticks together. So for my concealer, like I said, I'm going to be using the Glamoflauge. And I'm just going to put like the tiniest bit on the back of my hand. Like literally tiny. I don't even know if you can see it. And I'm just going to take my pinky and dot that wherever I think I kind of need the coverage. And I'm talking like tiny dots, because this stuff is extremely pigmented and thick. And I think that's why I had such issues with it clogging my pores. But I do believe it's a good concealer. You gotta take it in moderation. And it's pretty cheap. It's only like $4 or $5, I want to say. So if you do need to cover a tattoo for a job interview, it comes with a little concealer pencil. Alright, and then I'm just going to take this beauty blender. It is not an actual beauty blender. It's from TJ Maxx. It had like tea tree oil infused in it. And I was really, I thought that was really cool. So it was definitely, I think, like $2 or $3 for this. TJ Maxx has some, I think I've mentioned it before, but TJ Maxx has some like really cool finds. But I'll just pounce that everywhere. If you need a little bit more, you can go in. I think I'm going to keep it pretty minimal for this. God, I wish I could use my concealer. You know what? I'm going to try it. I haven't tried this in a long time. I'm going to put the tiniest bit of concealer like in my inner corners. And pounce it out as much as I possibly can. Just to try to get rid of the little dark circle that I have. Okay, so then for my foundation, my favorite drugstore foundation is the, well, one of my favorite drugstore foundations is the L'Oreal Pro-Matte Infallible Foundation. You know, everybody uses it, blah, blah, blah. But this one, I have a couple other favorite drugstore foundations, but this one's probably topped the cake for a while. And like I said, this one, depending on where you go, is probably a little bit over $10, but I'm telling you, it's worth it. Especially if you have oily skin or you just like a matte foundation. It's very buildable, and I like the finish that it has on it. And especially since I don't have, like my normal concealer under my eyes, I'm going to take the tinier end and just go ahead and go in and pretend my foundation is like a concealer as well. Makeup is so universal. Like you can literally use products for anything. Like the eyeliner that I used as an eyeshadow base. Like, sit and play with your products. This is an item that I've been taught does this, but what else can it do? And you would be amazed at some of the other looks you can come up with just by knowing your collection and knowing your products. And you might be surprised as what you come up with. Like, I definitely thought that this green wasn't going to show up as well as it actually did. So for that, I am excited. I don't have a face powder, I'm just going to jump straight in and contour or bronze my face a little bit. The only drugstore bronzer that I have at the moment is this little e.l.f. It's called the Contouring Blush and Bronzer Powder, and it looks like this. It has the bronzer on one side and the blush on the other. I really like both of these. Like, I feel like the blush is a really pretty like peach color. And then the bronzer gives you that like really nice summery glow. So I'm not mad about these, and this is only like a couple dollars at Walmart or whatever. So I'm going to be taking a fluffy brush, putting it in the bronzer, and then just contouring like I typically do. Put a little bit on my forehead. And you just blend it out until you think it looks like your desired intensity. And then I'm going to be taking just I got this off of Amazon. It was in a pack of like 10 other brushes, and I got it for $6. It's not a name brand or anything. I got it off of Amazon, and they work really well. So I'm going to be taking that e.l.f. blush that's on the other side and just kind of dabbing it on my cheekbones because I love blush. And then for my highlight, I was debating, I do not have a drugstore highlight. But I do have eyeshadows, and I've been, like I said, using your products for other things. I've been using eyeshadows as my highlighters, and since it's already in the palette, I'm going to be using that crease color that we used. I'm going to be using that as my highlight. My bronzer and my blush tended to make my look a little bit warmer than what I actually wanted it to do. Since I wanted to keep the greens kind of like cooler on my face, so I figured to tie that all back in, I'll just use the same crease color as my highlight, since it has more of that cooler, taupier tone to it. I just make up these words, guys. I don't actually, I'm pretty sure they don't mean anything. Now that my face is done, I'm going to go back in and do my under eye area. I'm going to be taking that brush that had the dark color on it. I literally even brushed it off on a little towel that I have, but make it so there's barely anything there. And I'm just going to start running it underneath my lower lash line. Just on the outer side. And I'm actually going to carry that dark green all the way around. Decided to close my eyes off, give it a little bit more smokiness. If you have a really dark, smoky raccoonish eye going on, you can always go in with a nude or a white eyeliner pencil and put it on the tear duct, and that will open your eye back up just a little bit. This in particular is the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk. It is one of my favorites. I can't get enough of the green. I'm going to go back in with the cat eyeliner from Jordana, and I'm going to flick it just a little bit underneath my wing over here. Necessarily think this look needs lashes. Since it's already so bold, you can give your lashes an extra curl, and I feel like that would be really pretty. I'm just gonna go ahead and do that so you guys can see what it'll look like. And you just curl them a little bit more, after you've put your mascara on. I think that looks really pretty, and you don't necessarily need lashes, but if you're a girl that does like to do lashes, I'm gonna go ahead and do them anyways. These are the Ardell, they're 205, I believe these are the double ups. I'm going to take that brow bone color that I used for my highlight and just put a little bit in the upper corners of my brow bone, and then a little bit just in my inner corners. And then your whole look is done. The only thing that I really need to do is my lips. My lip color, I use the Pacifica Power of Love. This is the Powerful Color Natural Lipstick in Tender Heart, and it looks like this. I think it's really similar to almost like a lippy stick from ColourPop. It's very creamy. It doesn't have a mattifying type of texture or anything like that, but it's very creamy. It tastes really good, and I think it matched my lip color pretty well. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was actually really fun to film. It's very challenging trying to find things, especially if you're a makeup hoarder or a makeup collector or whatever. It's really hard to find items that you specifically can't use. It's really kind of weird, but this definitely like made me think outside of the box. I got to use some products that I don't necessarily use all the time, and it was really fun. So if you guys are into like really more expensive makeup and like going to Sephora and doing all that, I highly suggest like take a chill pill, like go to the drugstore, find some good stuff, because there's really good, like there are some good items out there that you wouldn't necessarily think you would find, that might even replace something that you spend 4 times much on. So that is where I'm going to leave you guys today. Make sure to check out all of my other videos. I am on Twitter and Instagram, and I have a blog. It is abbylizgale.wordpress.com. Go ahead and go check that out. I'm going to be posting more on that. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.